A question we must ask ourselves as we continue along in this COVID year is whether or not classics or Markham classics can really survive without conference, right? And whether or not conference is so important that without it, the club just shouldn't run at all. I guess that's the extreme version. This is a Stroll in the Forum. It is your host, Joaquin. I will be in hopefully every episode, but actually no, hopefully not. I hope that someone picks this up after I leave. That would be amazing. Not gonna lie. Like, it doesn't have to be the president. It doesn't have to be like Pringcups or whatever. It can like be anyone. I think that would be so cool if someone picks it up after me. Anyway, topic of conversation today, as you could probably tell with the leading question, is conference. How important is conference? You might ask yourself, you might be saying, Joaquin, of course conference is important. It's like the big thing. That's what everyone talks about, right? And let me tell you, well, yes, I agree. The two conferences I've gone to were amazing, both. And I do think they are very important in like classics in general. I think that after experiencing 2 years without conference, I think that we've overhyped it a bit, right? And people like to think, I think that for a person like me, or a person who is like invested in classics to a degree, right? Like what's the minimum? They show up to events, okay? Without being told, they will show up to events, meaning they see and they are given information of events and they show up without having to be like coerced with cookies, I guess we will go with that. That is my standard benchmark. If you're one of those people, I don't think you need conference. I think that you can stay in that classics can still help you and you can still help classics and whatever without conference. I think that is the truth. That is, I will say that as my truth. Though, okay, so that being said, of course, if you're grade 9, I don't think you're going to be able to survive in classics without conference. Because conference is kind of one of those life-changing moments, I think, for any grade 9. But I think once you get past grade 9 conference, you don't need conference anymore. At that point, you are invested enough, right? Minus any, weird scenarios, external circumstances, or whatever. Like, I think you're in classics for life, right? There are cases where people have quit classics, even though they've reached this point, and that's, to be honest, that's usually because of music, but that's okay. But yeah, I think that conference is not necessary after grade 9. I've said this before, I don't know if I've said this here, but I've said this before, where in grade 9, you're kind of like, the way it's designed, or the way we've done it traditionally, it means that you're kind of against your fellow grade 9s for, like, most of it. Right? Junior trivia is a competition. Kurtamen is a competition, right? You're not really, beyond this competition, you're not really, like, friendly. And maybe Saturnalia, you're actually, like, working together, but it's for, like, a play. And all the movie nights, like, most of the time, let's be honest, grade 9s don't watch the movies. You don't have nostalgic feelings anymore. You don't have nostalgia yet for watching the movies, so you're not going to watch the movies anyway, right? I remember, from me personally, I did not go to a movie night in grade 9. The only two I went to was the first one, which I hated because no one was watching and everyone was talking, and the last one, which is phenomenal because it was Emperor's Club, and if you haven't heard of Emperor's Club, it is basically Dead Poets Society, but classics in Latin, and this whole, like, Roman history trivia competition, and it is great. It is, like, by far my favorite movie night movie that we've ever done. It's just so weird to think of, like, a bunch of white people, a bunch of white boys, like, competing in stuff that we compete in. It's kind of weird. And yeah, it gets really dramatic, and you have the Mighty Ducks actor, and you have there's the Grey's Anatomy guy, and Lex Luthor is there, and the guy that looks. But yeah. So anyway, where's it going with that? Movie nights. So yeah, movie nights are not spectacular for And maybe not trying to spectacular for bonding and that sort of thing, but they do help. But I think that in the end, once you get past rank or Tommen, you're like, what's next, right? At that point, you're bored because you have nothing to study for, right? Until conference rolls around, right? Pep Rally, I think, is very important because it's like your precursor into conference. And without Pep Rally, you're not gonna be hyped, essentially. Pep Rally is fun. Lots of fun. But okay. Got stuck getting sidetracked. At conference, you are now in a position where you are just experiencing it. Like, yes, there's a competition. Yes, it's hard. Yes, whatever. Like, you've worked hard, and so you should be performing hard and whatever. Like, Quirite, definitely don't screw up your team, right? Arctic, we don't care. Just have fun. Oral Myth, don't screw up, right? All these ones that Markham is usually good at, right? You don't want to screw that up. And yes, I do agree. The competition can get stressful. I know lots of people stay up late studying. I will be honest, I don't think it helps. I haven't seen anyone really, like, turn themselves around on the night of conference, but definitely the school bus rides. The school bus rides, you definitely they're magical. They're somehow magical in getting people to be able to know everything they need to study. I think though that for grade 9's conference is one of those big bonding experiences. My grade 9 year, we played Manhunt with the grade above us, and like exploring a university campus like that for the first time was lots of fun, and I will forever remember that feeling of being, everything is a mystery. You don't know where everything is, and you have to track people down or you have to run away from people. And so you have like little bonding experiences like that. Or the Mingles Cafe of whatever year that was, whatever the last conference is. The Mingles Cafe will be forever remembered by everyone because we all had to escape. We all worked together to get out of there. And, we had some injured, we had some people not make it. Some people went back in for some reason. Yeah, it was quite the time. But like, I will forever remember that. I'm forever bonded with the people that were there, right? But, experiences like that, if you're not in grade 9, can still exist no matter whether or not you're at a conference or not, right? Like, you can do it over study sessions, over creative fiestas, over filming, right? There are lots of things that exist now, or like that I've seen, that can have that same effect as long as you're, invested in classics. Like, shout out to the squad, but the 3 a.m. Discord call squad from COVID years, like, that was each one like goes later than the last, and whether it being talking about how screwed up classics is, or whether or not it'd be talking about like Concordia or whatever, like video game we're playing, whatever, like, those are the experiences that I think represent what conference is, or represent how conference feels, right? Like, you don't need conference to feel that way. You don't need conference for that happen. And maybe that's not for everyone. Maybe some people think that having conference specifically is the only way they're going to connect to people in classics. And yeah, that's understandable. That's totally valid. But we come back to that question of, without conference, what is classics? And I think without conference, what is classics? It's still the same. It's still the people. Classics is not about this knowledge, this like antiquity, this tradition, right? Like, in the end, the only thing keeping the club going is the love of everyone. And from the grade 9 that's brave enough to come to every event because they love it, and they don't, despite, even if they're alone, even if no one else likes it with them, like, that grade 9, I appreciate you. No matter how old you are now, or no matter who you are now, whoever that is now, that grade 9 who has decided to commit themselves to classics, I appreciate you. You keep this club running. And even to the grade 12s who constantly are stressed about whatever's going on, whatever problems with, probably music, not gonna lie. If it's not COVID, it's music. Like, right, whatever issues you have, whatever things Classics is going through right now, those grade 12s, I appreciate you. I appreciate the fact that you have worked so hard and you continue to work hard. That's what Classics is. Without conference, Classics is the same, right? Like, people may say, without conference, there's no goal, there's no, like, reason to be in Classics, and thus people, like, shy away. And yes, that is true. We've seen that. After 2 years of no conference, people are lost, right? There is no why. Why are we doing this, if not for conference? And my predecessor said, we need to change that. He quoted a previous president's speech. He told me, it's not about UTS, which is obviously our conference, that's our conference goal, right? Beat UTS. So it's not about UTS, it's about US, it's about us, right? And they had a sign and everything in the barbecue. You rip the sign, take out the T, and you have us. It's cute. I wish I saw that. But that's truly what it is about. Wow. This feels more like classic spectrum. This feels a bit more liberal than I'm traditionally. But it's true, I think, or at least for me, I think it's true that even if we don't have conference, we don't need conference to find that why, right? Why are we in classics? We promote the study of classical antiquity, right? But what does that mean? What does that mean for each individual person? How can you continue to strive for that, to strive to uphold that? And why is it beneficial to you personally? Right? Not everyone's going to study classics in university. Not everyone's going to take a Latin course or Greek course or whatever, right? Some people are just in it for friends. Some people are in it for the creative. Some people are in it for whatever reason. They got coerced by cookies, and then they got stuck. Right? Whatever your reason, the underlying why of why classics exist is because of you. What I mean to say is that half-formed thoughts. What I mean to say is the reason why I, as a grade 12, am striving to continue classics is for the later generations who will find themselves belonging in classics, right? If I don't keep up the traditions of classics, then they won't have anything. They won't have this experience that I've had, right? And I'm trying to share it with future generations, right? That's the whole Book of Aurelius. If that thing actually comes out, I will be very impressed. But that's the spirit of the Book of Aurelius, is that I would like to share my experience with you so that you can experience the same. And I don't just mean conference. I don't just mean movie nights. I mean the camaraderie. I mean the chanting, the feelings of, like, connection. Being on the bus all the way to Astroyas. Like, that bus ride after the ROM has the very interesting energy. Interesting. It is quite the energy. Like, you don't know it until you experience it. Which I'm very sorry for the fact that there's been, 2 grades now? No ROM trip? As of recording this? Hopefully you guys are back and doing round trips. Where am I going back with this? Don't need conference. Why are we doing classics? Classics is for the people, whatever. Yeah. So, why would an older grade, or why would even a grade 9 help classics? Why would you continue being in classics, continue striving to study, right? Studying is the main thing, right? Most people consider classics just studying, right? But why do we study? We study because it is a way of connecting us, right? If you don't study myth, you won't understand the myth references, but beyond that, you won't understand the, like, philosophy that came out of this myth. And that's the important thing, I think. I think when it comes to Roman life and myth and history, maybe not vocab, but Roman life, myth, and history, like, what is the underlying theme? Why do we continue to learn these stories? It's because of their lessons, right? These lessons are things that we can learn And if we study them, we can pass them on. We can teach them to other people. And after all, that's not what class is about. We are a high school club. High school is simply just a gateway into another thing. It's just your train station taking you from point A, which is your elementary school, to point B, your university life, and the future ahead of you. High school is not the destination. As much as we care, as much as we would not like to admit it, especially in the middle of COVID, high school is not the destination. It is simply a waypoint, right? But like, it doesn't mean that classics is just a waypoint. Classics is not a destination, but it is not just simply a thing you just go through, right? We put our heart into this for you, for other people. And I hope, that your time in classics is not dictated by just studying, that you learn something for your life. You learn how to live. If in math and science and English and whatever, you like learn the skills to life, right? You learn how to work, how to study, how to whatever. I hope that classics teaches you how to live, right? Work to live or live to work sort of thing. I hope that that's what classics is. And in the end, we don't need conference for that. So, in the words of Darn, the name is, you add the name in, editor person, add the name in. You know who I'm talking about, the leader guy. Yeah, that guy, like, insert name here. Simon Sinek. Okay, that guy, in his words, he said, you need to start with why. You need to ask yourself, why are you doing this? Why does this company exist? Why does this organization exist? And the reason for why classics exist is to continue passing on these traditions and life lessons and these experiences and feelings and things like that. Like, we are in the business of making moments, I guess. That is, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We're in the business of making moments. And we're making moments for grade 9s, we're making moments for grade 10s, we're making moments for the seniors, right? Classics is that. That's what classics is. That's what all high school clubs are. In the end, right? They are either skill-based, where you learn and develop skills, or B, moments, memories, right? On a personal level, that is what we're doing. Whether or not you want to beat UTS, whether or not you want to make the most money. By the way, if R&R bubble tea is a thing, okay, fine. If R&R bubble tea is not a thing, make it a thing. And if R&R bubble tea is a thing, get me some. I will shoot the Classics Instagram a comment. Tell them, hey, Joaquin, we have R&R bubble tea. Invite me. I will come down, no matter how old I am, and I will buy some R&R bubble tea, okay? Shout out to the founders of R&R bubble tea, if y'all exist. I hope you exist. I really want R&R bubble tea to work. Yes. So even if your goal is to just make the most money as possible, right? It doesn't matter. Like, in the end, we're just here we're in the business of making memories. Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. I guess I should conclude and summarize everything. We're nearing the end. Well, at least of my walk. So thank you for strolling with me. To summarize, the question was, can classics survive without conference? And I will say, without a doubt, yes. Classics can survive without conference. Why? Because our goal and our purpose is not to win conference. Our goal and our purpose is not to compete in conference. We are in the business of making memories. We're in the business of making moments. And whether or not that is through a computer screen at 3 a.m., whether or not that's at an exec meeting where your Wi-Fi cuts out, or whether or not that's at a movie night, sitting beside some friends and watching Emperor's Club or watching Hercules. We're in the business of making these moments and these memories for you, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. All of you out there. That is why classics exists. And if you don't think that's why we're doing this, then I ask you, what made you stay? Why didn't you leave after you got your cookie? What has attracted you to this club that has gotten you to stay with us for so long? However long. Right? Why are you watching this right now? Why are you listening to this? This is above and beyond what most people do. And if you can't answer that, then figure out the answer, I guess. If you can't answer it, and it's something along the lines of, I am here for the memories, I'm here for moments, I'm here because of friends, right? Then I'm right. And if it's for some praise, you want some self-accomplishment, then that's fine too. But yeah, ask yourself, why did you stay? And comment down below, I guess. What's your answer? This is Joaquin, President of Classics, signing off. Thank you for strolling with me in the forum.